Hello, and thank you for joining Cup SEO today as we talk about SEO and the Get to Know SEO webinar. My name is Joey Donovan Guido, and I am the CEO of Cup SEO, and I'll be your host for the next 60 minutes. Just a quick little test flight for you guys. In webinars on air, you're going to see in the upper left-hand corner, you've got a little, kind of like a dialogue bubble, okay, or a thought bubble. That is your chat button. And the way I like to run my webinars is I'm going to leave the chat button open the entire time. So if you have a question, go ahead and ask it right when you have it. And a couple times during the webinar, I'm going to address questions for each section that we talk about. All right. And today we're really going to address two main questions that have to do with getting to know search engine optimization. And those are, sorry guys, slight PowerPoint issue, solved. Okay, so we are going to take a look at answering the question, what is SEO? And then we're also going to dive into how to use it on your website, your blog, and then your social media. All right. So first, answering the question, what is SEO? First, let's spell it out literally. SEO is search engine optimization. And basically, it's a fancy term for connecting people on the internet, Google, Bing, whatever search engine they're using, connecting someone who's making what we call a natural search with a product, a service, a website that actually provides that. Okay, so in my case, somebody might go and search for SEO in Madison, search engine optimization in Madison, Wisconsin. And what would happen is Google would say, okay, my keyword phrase is SEO Madison. Let me take a look and connect this person with relevant results. And that's really all search engine optimization is in a nutshell. It's essentially making that connection. But how do you do it? How do you connect your website, your blog, your social media to individuals who are actually searching for the services or the products that you provide? Search engine optimization is broken down into three parts that we're going to talk about that answer that very question. All right. Many people who have a light understanding of SEO know about keywords and keyword phrases and how that can drive traffic to a website or a blog. But keywords are only about 1/3 of the SEO pie, as you can see here. The other third is content, or the words on the page. And another third are all of your social media efforts. All right, and we're going to see that that social media efforts actually has part of that works with humans, and part of that works with the search engines themselves. But let's begin by looking at how to make your keywords, because your keywords are kind of what threads through all of this. And we need to know which ones to use. And what I create here at Cup SEO is something called a keyword report, which is a sample keyword report right here. This is actually, you guys will see here, quite a few things which I'll explain to you, but these are actual numbers from a keyword report that I created, but I took the customer's name out and also removed all the keywords because that's proprietary information that a client paid for. So in order to get your keyword report, you've got to do one of two things. Either one, get comfortable with using Google Keyword Planner. It's also the same keyword tool that you would use for Google AdWords. And do some research on your niche, on your business, the type of work that you do, and look to put together a list of high performing, or what I call optimal, keyword phrases. It's going to take a little time if you're not really comfortable working on Google Analytics and Google Keyword Planner, but it can be done. Your second option would be to hire somebody like Cup of SEO to take care of your keyword report for you. And this is just a little snapshot of what mine look like. And I want to kind of give you guys an overview. So whether you're hiring me to do it or doing it yourself, these are the areas that you're going to want to focus on. So first of all, at the top of the page, it says keyword research. And research being performed, in this case, searches made through Dane County and the USA. All numbers are based on monthly search totals. And that's default, that monthly search totals. Okay? But you've got to kind of pick your region. You've got to list out your competition. That could be local, national competition, or it could just be websites that you aspire to be more like one day, businesses that you'd like to grow to be like. Okay? And then you've got your keywords. I list them out in a good, better, best format, so it's really easy to pinpoint which ones to use. I'm not going to get too more into detail here because it can be confusing, but I just wanted to give you an idea of what your keywords look like. Now, let's say you don't have the inclination or the time to create a keyword report. And let's say you don't have the budget to make one right now with Cup of SEO. What can you do? Where can you get started? And the answer to that question is sit down and make a list of 5 to 10, maybe 12 keyword phrases that you use when you talk about your business, or what you think people are using to search for your business or your type of work. So if you're a dentist, things like dentist, Dentist Verona, or wherever your shop may be, those might be some good keywords to at least start with, okay? Another good thing to do is talk to a couple of colleagues or good friends and say, hey, if you were going to search for a dentist, what would you search for? And you'd be surprised. Sometimes there are literally hundreds of answers that we need to filter through to discern what's good, what's bad, and what's just plain not usable, okay? So those are your three options. Now, the third option isn't optimal. You're probably not going to get every single good and best keyword phrase that you can, but you've got to start somewhere. And that's what I want to encourage you guys to do today, is to take one step, either right now while we're working together or right after the webinar as soon as you have time. Decide how you're going to get this keyword report together. And if you're going to make one, you can even just pull out a paper and a pencil right now and start writing down 5 keyword phrases that you think might be good to use. Okay? Just get started. You guys will find that if you take these in what I like to call bite-sized steps, you'll get one thing done, and then you'll get another, and yet another, and then all of a sudden you'll have quite a bit accomplished. So again, take a moment now, or sometime today, to write down what you think your top 5 keyword phrases are. Don't worry about if they're right or wrong. Just try and make them as accurate as possible. Okay? So beyond that first piece of pie, and this probably won't be the last food analogy, because at Cup SEO, we like 2 things a lot. We like coffee and we like food, often eaten and drank together. So the next section is all about your content. And for those of you who may not know what that means, content is literally the words on the page, the story you're telling, the product description that you've written, the blog post that you've published. So here's a still shot of one of my web pages. And what I'm actually going to do is take you to the main URL. And the reason why I want to do that is I want to give you guys a good idea of what good, solid content looks like. Because you don't need to be a writer to write solid content. What you need to do is understand what your customers' pain points are and solve them. Offer them a benefit, offer them a solution, offer them information, which could sometimes be about a problem they don't even know they have until you've brought it up to them. Okay? It does not have to be Pulitzer Prize winning. It just needs to be clear, and it needs to solve a problem. So here's that web page again, live. And what we've got here at the top is a headline that's meant to be engaging, but also includes some SEO. And here what you guys can see is right here, the acronym for SEO is my optimization of the headline. But as we go through this content, we're talking about day in, day out issues that all of us have as business owners. All right? So we're talking about what SEO is, what's in a keyword report that we talked about a little bit today, what it takes to optimize your website content. These are all things that somebody who's considering or trying to learn about search engine optimization will need to know. And also for me, I want to differentiate myself here in the content, because the way I optimize a website is considerably different than how 99% of all other people do it. I'm much more thorough, getting into every little nook and cranny that I can. And I know some of you who are at this webinar know me well enough to know that's absolutely true, and I may have actually optimized some of your stuff. So what we really want to do here is create content that's engaging, that's solving a problem. And you guys can see I've got this laid out in a way that gives a really good user experience. And it's going to look very similar on a mobile device as well. That's why we've got this call to action here, this button, because if somebody's on a mobile device and they've read this content here and they want to take action, we want to make that as easy as possible. Okay? So always a good idea to have a call to action button somewhere near the top. But you'll see down here, I've got a more traditional text link at the bottom in case somebody is already down there and they want to click through. So that's your content component of SEO. And what a lot of people don't know, including some less savvy SEO businesses, is that content in and of itself, well-written content, has a tremendous amount of SEO value. You see in my chart, I showed you it's about a third. So even if all you've done so far on your website is written really awesome content, you've already done SEO. And you didn't even know it. That's great. Now you've got a third of the pie already done. If you haven't, if you feel like your content is a little bit thin or no longer accurate or maybe kind of not engaging, that's okay. My advice would be take it one page at a time and spiff it up. Make it nice. So beyond content, I do want to talk with you guys a little bit about social media. And social media is interesting because a lot of people don't realize the SEO value that social media has. But social media actually breaks up into two main buckets, all right, as you can see from my incredibly high-tech slide here. On the one hand, the social media that we publish, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, wherever, is meant for the human eye. It is meant to engage with other people, right? Potential customers, potential readers, potential fans of what we do. So everything that gets published through LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and so on doesn't actually have that much SEO value. And if you were to make a pie chart about this, all of your social media venues put together might account for about 20% of the SEO value for social media. So the question is, where do you get the other 80% from? Where are you going to go to actually gain authority for your website, for your blog, for your Google My Business page, for your Google Plus page, which is not such a big deal anymore, but Google My Business certainly is. Where do you go to get that authority, to get that SEO value? The answer is on the right. You actually go through your Google My Business page. And if you guys aren't familiar with Google My Business, we do free webinars quarterly about that. So you can always sign up for one of those. The next one's sometime next year. But essentially what happens is in Google My Business, and we'll look a little bit at this later, you actually publish the same material that you would put through LinkedIn or Facebook. And when you publish it, it goes onto your Google My Business page. It goes through your Google Plus page automatically. And that is super important to do because Google is looking. And when you publish through those venues, Google My Business, Google Plus, Google says, oh, wow, okay, I better give some more credibility to this business because they're taking the time to publish information through Google My Business. You know, Google has kind of made themselves extremely self-important, right? And they have that power because they're Google. We use it every day. They're the king. And a lot of people tend to say, you know, I'm kind of resentful. I don't really want to do Google My Business and all this stuff because I feel like I have to. I feel forced. And my philosophy is this. We have two options. We can either be angry at Google for pushing us to do something, or we can use the tool they've given us to grow our business. And those of you that know me know what I choose. I choose to grow our business. Let's use that tool to the very best of our ability. Let's take advantage of it. So the next thing we're going to talk about, now that we've looked at all three pieces of the pie, the keywords, the content, and the social media, let's talk about how do we implement search engine optimization into each piece, all right? So we're going to start off with website and blog implementation. And the reason why I have these together is because it's very similar, what you're going to do on both. Here's a little bit of a dissection of one of my web pages. This is actually an old web page. That image is different now, but it doesn't matter. So there are 6 key areas that you want to take those keywords that either you have created or your SEO person. 6 key areas where you want to implement them. Okay? So number 1 is going to be what's called your title tag, and that's right up here. Your title tag is a region, one of the first places that Google or any search engine looks to see what a web page or a blog is about. With this, you get up to 70 characters to populate this region. And you guys can see here how I've got it set up. It's SEO, search engine optimization, Madison, Wisconsin. And then my name, the name of my business comes last. And the reason for that is because right up here, the first set of words, phrases, or a single word is what carries the most weight in the title tag. So we want to make sure we lead with our very best keyword phrase for that particular page, okay? The second spot that we need to optimize is what's called your headline or your H1, okay? Each web page or blog should only have one H1. Typically, it's at the top of the page. It's the largest headline on the page. Here's mine. And this is not brain surgery. I put search engine optimization, and then in parentheses, I put the acronym, SEO. Both of those are good keyword phrases for me. The third area that we want to implement some of these keywords is going to be our secondary headlines. And in this case, you guys can see number 3. I've got an H3 here. I also have one over here. An H3 is a very specific type of headline. It's one that you can use multiple times on a page, as opposed to the H1, right, guys? That you're only supposed to use once. H3s can be used 2, 3, 4, 5 times, and they are really a good way to segment the page to make it scannable. So if a person's looking, maybe they don't care what's in a keyword report, they just want to know about optimizing their website content, they can jump right to it. Okay? So here we've got keyword report, and keyword is one of my keywords. And then optimizing website content is a keyword phrase, not one of the best ones. It's more of a secondary keyword phrase, but it adds a lot of clarity for the reader. Which brings up another good point is like, well, does every single headline have to have a keyword in it? And the answer to that question is, if yes, if possible, yes, put it in there. But don't sacrifice being clear just to get a keyword phrase in there. If it sounds totally awkward or just clunky, it's okay not to put it in there. As you can see, we've got plenty of places to put our keywords. The fourth region over here, the image, is super important. And this is the lowest hanging fruit for most websites. Because even in the past, if you've had some optimization done, most search engine optimization experts don't know to optimize the image. As ridiculous as that sounds. I could actually take you on 10 of my competitors right now, and at least 9 of them would have non-optimized photos. But this is really good for you guys to know, because Google's looking at these images. And if the image name is 12862 home, because it's a homepage image, .jpg, Google says, okay, that's interesting, or maybe not, and moves on, okay? But if your image says Cuppa SEO, Madison, Wisconsin, search engine optimization services, now I've got a ton of keywords in there, which helps in many ways. One, it helps identify what's on the page. It helps clarify. 2, it's giving you that little bit more SEO value because your image is now named, not just your content. So, and plus, if someone happens to have a disability, if they're visually impaired, for instance, and they hover over your image, it's very possible they could have their computer set up to speak the image name, or sometimes it can also show it. Okay, so it's got some value to the human eye as well, but really we do it for the SEO value. 5 is going to be all of your body copy. Okay, so all of this paragraph style copy needs to have appropriate keyword phrases for the particular page you're optimizing. My advice would be, especially if you're a novice to optimizing a page, pick one main keyword phrase for the page, maybe 2. Don't make it overly complicated. Just make it clear to Google what this page is about. Okay? And the 6th region is going to be down here, and this blue line is actually a text link. Text links have a little bit more oomph to them than body copy. Okay? So we want to get some keywords in there as well. And you can see we've got SEO in there twice. Once would have been fine, but just because the name of my company is Cuppa SEO, we wound up with it in there twice. So that is what we've got for your websites, and it's going to be identical for your blog. A lot of times, when you're making a blog post, this gets populated automatically by WordPress or most other blog software. You don't want that. You want to control what that title tag says. So it's only 70 characters long, and so it's leading with the keyword phrases that you want. Okay? Just keep that in mind as you go through optimizing your blog and your web pages. So what I've got pulled up for you guys here is actually a very short video of my kids that's a good example of what a relevant blog could be. Because remember, not just keywords, but content is important. So I gotta warn you, my kids are a little funny. So hopefully you'll get a good chuckle from this. And then while you guys watch the video, I'm gonna check in and see if anybody's got questions, which I'll be happy to answer right after the video is done. So if anybody has joined in late and you do have a question, chat is open. Just go ahead and click on the little chat button in the upper left-hand area of your screen. It should be gray. Click on that and it will open up your chat dialog on the right-hand side of the screen. And just type whatever question you have. So my boys, their names are Max and Joss. Max is 11, Joss is 9. And they often, much to their chagrin, have to hear about SEO. So here's one of the things they've helped me work on. This was right around Thanksgiving that we created this.
Stuffing. Turkey stuffing. Stuffing? Stovetop stuffing. Stuffing your face. Stuffing what? Pillow stuffing. Homemade pillow stuffing. Oh, keyword stuffing. You know, no, we don't want a keyword stuffing. That's just bad. Stuffed animals. I'm stuffed. Stuffed up nose. All kinds of stuffed stuff. Stuffed peppers, disgusting. Stuffed meatballs. Huh? Stuffing. Stuffing. Stuffing, good for some things, but not your website. Stuffing! Whoa.
All right, so hopefully you guys enjoyed that as much as I enjoyed making it. But let's just do a little quick dissection of this. We've already taken a look at all the areas that we need to populate to optimize a web page or a blog. But I just wanted to give you guys an idea of the variants that you can include in your blog. So this video about keyword stuffing, and you see right over here, guys, just in the little title here, I've got stuffing, which website and stuffing becomes a keyword phrase, even though they're not directly connected, they're in the same sentence. Google will see that and acknowledge that, hey, he's got keyword stuffing, or website stuffing in this case, as one of his keywords. We've got it up here too, same exact title. So, you know, with a blog, to be relevant doesn't mean you always have to be talking about exactly what you do. For instance, a few years ago, I was working with a local company called Biz Filings, and what they do is they help small businesses and businesses of all sizes, helps them incorporate. Okay, so with Biz Filings, of course, they wanted me to talk about LLCs, S-corps, and stuff like that, but we sat down and I said, listen, a small business cares about more than incorporating. And they may not be ready to do that right now. So let's talk about other things that are important, that are relevant, that are problem solvers for small businesses. So I did a whole series on goals for small businesses, how to discover, define, set, and accomplish your goals, short-term, long-term. We also talked about things, you know, if you're a small business owner and a parent, how do you deal with exhaustion and still run your business well? And we had all these kind of tangential things that blew up the blog. Before I started, they were getting like 6 hits a day, which was really awful. And then after about 6 months, we were at 100+ hits a day of good, relevant traffic that was sticking around. But one of the reasons why I'm showing you guys a video, other than showing off my boys, is to show you what you need to do if you have a video on a web page or a blog page, okay? You want to have an H1 still that's got that good, relevant keyword phrase in it. Here we go, keyword stuffing, okay? And also, you have 2 options as far as content to sit below your video. One option is going to be to just transcribe the video. But please, if you're going to do that, transcribe it yourself or have someone do it for you. do not depend on Google, YouTube specifically, because it will not do a good job. It'll be broken English at best. And the other option of what you can do, and it's what I did here, is I kind of did a little summary of what the video was about. So we've got, you can see keyword stuffings in here, just in the first sentence once, in the H1 it's in there. So I made it a little different than what's in the video, just because it seemed like it would make more sense that way. And then it would add a little bit more value and pay off the video. As my wife very intelligently brought up, she's like, don't you need to describe what keyword stuffing is? I was like, well, yeah, that's a good idea. So yeah, so that's why that's there. You guys will notice a lot of times on my blog, I don't put call to actions. That's up to you, but it doesn't have poor SEO value, but it does have poor value sometimes to the end user. If you start selling them on your blog, they might kind of be like, hey, man, I just came here to read and learn, not to be pushed into anything. And on that note, let's check in and see if we've got any questions and see how you guys are doing. I don't think I mentioned I'm actually using a brand new wonderful microphone. It's called the Blue Snowball, and it's really cool. It looks like a snowball. But the webinars have been really popular and doing well, so I treated myself for the holidays to a real nice microphone. So as far as chat, it doesn't look like we have any questions at this point. We've got a lot of people on the line, so if you do have questions, please feel free to ask now about anything that we've spoken about thus far before we move on. All right. And while I wait for you guys to type, because there is a little bit of a lag between my live broadcast and when you see it, I'm going to give you guys some information about the Cup of SEO keyword report in case you'd like to have one put together for you. There's no pressure with this, but if you want it as a little thank you for showing up today for the webinar, I'm offering a discount exclusively for you guys who are listening in. And one thing that's super important with all of this is to remember that this is a lot to take in. It's a lot. I understand that. I don't expect you to finish this webinar today and go implement all of this across all your channels. The goal for today is just to get you one step further down the road. And that's why I suggested writing out those keyword phrases. All right, because even if they're not the very best ones, like my English teacher used to say, anything is better than a zero. All right. So if they're mid-range keywords and you implement them, you are going to have better results than if you don't do that at all. All right. So I don't want the fact that you might not currently have a keyword report to stop you from moving forward. You can always change things again if you need to. All right. And you can always test these things on 1 or 2 pages. So what you'll see here with this offer is if you click on I'm interested in the report, it'll take you to a little page where you'll fill out a form and I'll just get in touch with you and we'll have a conversation. Again, there's no pressure and there's no obligation. So if we have a conversation and you're like, yeah, you know, I think I want to wait, it's okay. Not a problem at all. So amazingly, we don't have any questions yet. So hopefully that means that I'm doing a good job and everything's clear. So let's move on. We've got a little bit less than a half hour left. Let's move on to the next section. So we've already talked about web and blog. So what I want to talk with you guys about next is social media. And remember just a little bit ago, we talked about social media really having 2 prongs or 2 buckets, right? One is to connect with other people, potential customers, current customers, and so on. The other is to connect with Google specifically to up your SEO value. Now, the way all this works, before we get into the details of social media implementation, it works like this. That pie I showed you earlier is literally like one complete pie. So with the relevant content, with the optimal keyword phrases, and also optimizing your social media, Google sees all that. It's literally assessing your website, assessing your social, assessing your relevance factor, your keyword factor, and looking at you holistically, just like a doctor would if you went for a checkup or a physical, just like a mechanic would, a good mechanic. You know, you take your car in and you're like, you know, my car kind of has lag. Doesn't have that pep it used to have. So, okay, maybe you need an oil change. Maybe your spark plugs need to be gapped, or maybe, just maybe, you don't have enough air in your tires. So it's really looking at something as a whole and saying, okay, is everything functioning properly? Are all the tires filled properly with air for best gas mileage and so on? Okay? But again, you don't have to fix all this at once. Pick one piece, do your best, get into a routine. If this is something like social media you have to do week in and week out, and be kind to yourself, because this can very easily become frustrating, and I understand that. So on that note, here is Cuppa SEO's Facebook page. And we're going to look at a lot of things right now to give you a really clear idea of what needs to be optimized, all right? And just like we did with the blog and the website, we need to look at some specific areas here. This is going to be true of Facebook, LinkedIn, and we're also going to take a little bit of a look at Google My Business. And the best practices that I'm going to show you are pretty much the same for each. So it's just about deciding, okay, which venue, LinkedIn or Facebook or Twitter or Pinterest, has the most of my customers in it. You know, for me, my best venue is LinkedIn to actually get business from. I'm still on Facebook, but I don't really get business from Facebook because I'm business to business. So the first thing that's real high level to decide is, am I business to business? Most likely LinkedIn is going to be your solution. If you're business to customer, Facebook is going to be your solution. All right. And let's just stop for 1 second before I move forward. I do have a question from Eileen, and I hope I said your name properly. Eileen has asked us, which one should someone go to for small business go to first, SEO or paid search advertising? And that's an excellent question. All right, and the way to look at this is paid advertising is something you're going to have to pay for month after month after month. Optimizing your website, on the other hand, is doing it once, doing it right, and leaving it alone. Now, the succession of events that you want to follow is, first and foremost, always optimize your website, because that is how you're going to get what we call organic traffic. That's how you're going to naturally get people to your website. So if you came to Cuppa SEO and said, hey, I've got a budget for X amount of dollars a month, and you asked me this question, should we do pay-per-click, AdWords, or should we optimize? Every single time, except for very rare instances, I'm going to say we optimize, because that's going to work for you day in and day out, and once it's paid for, it's paid for. Then what we do is we step back after 90 days, maybe a little bit more. It takes about 3 months for an optimization to kick in fully. But then we'll sit back and we'll say, okay, are we getting the results we need? So if you went from 20 hits a day to 150, and we've set up your website to have a really good user experience, and we've set up your site to have a really good conversion, call to action on your home page and on whatever sub pages we need to. If it's humming along, keep your money in the bank. Take somebody out for dinner. Go on a vacation. There's no reason to spend money on AdWords if that's working. All right. If it's not giving us quite enough, then we might want to talk about a campaign. But I would not advise AdWords as my first round of campaigns. I would say go to Facebook or LinkedIn. Again, depending on that end user, right? If you're B2B, LinkedIn. If you're B2C, Facebook. Do your ads there. You're going to spend less. You're going to be able to target somebody more. And it's putting you in a venue that's a little bit more controlled. Plus, Google won't bother you every other day to spend more money. So that's what I would do, Aileen. I would first optimize, and then secondly, I would go into Facebook and or LinkedIn to do my paid ads. Excellent question. Thank you. So I got so excited I forgot where I was. So let's go back. Let's go back to talking about social media. All right. So we are going to go to my Facebook page and look at some options or some areas that could be optimized. Bear with me for 1 second, guys. Click the wrong button. So when you are looking at Facebook, let's just stick here for a second. Up here, you've got an image. Okay, this is kind of your banner image. Over here, you've got an image. Typically, and this is my business page, not my personal page. Both of these, when we upload, we name them. Okay, we want to optimize this just like a web page and put keywords everywhere we can, including in the imagery. Okay. Oop. What's important about that is not only for someone who's searching for what you do on Google, but also within the algorithm of Facebook or LinkedIn. People might often be looking for a keyword phrase to find you. Okay. So let's now look. I'm so sorry. Okay, here we go. So it's funny, you know, sometimes your webinar software just likes to mess with you. But we're here, we've arrived. So now I need a cup of coffee. But anyway, so we optimize these two spots. Okay, and we're just going to look at the quote-unquote customer-facing part of the screen. But we're going to want to optimize as much as we can. See down here, it's got my address, my phone number, a link to my website. It's got a ton of photos, some videos. Populate these things as much as you can. And what I want to show you guys on this side is my actual posts that I publish. So here's the last one I did for this very webinar. We've got a headline. We've got a little bit of content. We want to keep this typically on any of these channels to less than 300 characters. It's a good rule of thumb. And then, of course, when I uploaded this image, I optimized it. Okay, I uploaded it from my desktop. Oftentimes, when you put a link like this to a web page or a blog post, Facebook tries to be helpful and puts what image they think should go over here. Don't do that. It's not optimized, and oftentimes it's not the very best image you can use. Take a minute, choose an image, name it, and upload it yourself. So in that case, give you an idea. All I did here was put in cupseo.com, And Google's giving me all these options that I might want to upload. Let's say that was it. I could use it. That's totally okay, but make sure it's optimized. Otherwise, if I get rid of all the images, I click on the little photo button here, and then I can click whatever image I want to upload. Okay? When you share something on your Facebook business page, you will also want to go and share it on your personal page. Just a little caveat there. That's going to help disseminate it further. It's going to help it get a little bit more traction and hopefully more likes and shares. All right? Remember, this is for connecting from your business to other individuals, in this case, B2C. On LinkedIn, you're also going to want to have a LinkedIn business page. Okay? And this is something that a lot of people actually don't have. Usually, this is kind of a secondary thing people think of doing because they're like, well, I have 600 connections on my LinkedIn page. I do well with it. Why do I need to have a business page? And I'm going to explain to you why. And also at the same time, kind of roll back into Eileen's question from earlier about paid advertising. All right, so this is Cup SEO's LinkedIn business page. Here's my image, which again is optimized. You've got this section here, which is the See More section. A little bit of information about me here. Again, optimized, what I specialize in, some good information about my industry, my website, stuff like that. But when I scroll down, you're going to notice that this page looks a heck of a lot like your personal LinkedIn page. Gives you a little bit more information about what you've done. Here's Nancy Depchik. She's one of my customers and an excellent speaker, local speaker. We did a spotlight on her, which of course I publicized on my social media outlets. And then this just kind of just goes on and on. But the biggest reason you guys are going to want to have a LinkedIn business page is because you can share these posts with anybody in what's called a sponsored update. You guys see that right here? A little button that says sponsor update. What you can do through this page is the same thing that you can do with a typical LinkedIn ad, only it looks a heck of a lot better. And I wouldn't be surprised eventually if LinkedIn got rid of their old ad system completely. Because it stinks. It's tiny, it's blurry, it's hard to notice, and it's expensive. Now, what's great about this is that if you have something like, let's just say I wanted to publicize my webinar, I could sponsor this update. I don't want to learn more about it right now. And I could choose the region that I want to connect with. I can choose specific businesses, specific titles in businesses. So let's say for me, if I want to get in touch with CEO, COO, CFO, and marketing director, or whatever it might be, I can target this really, really, really granularly. And then what happens is this post shows up on their personal LinkedIn feed as if I were someone they knew. There's a little disclaimer saying, hey, this is a paid ad, but it shows up beautiful. It's large, it's easy to read, and it's much more effective. And I found this in my testing, I found this to be, in many cases, much more effective than doing Google ads. Okay, so just consider that. Just like on this page on your personal LinkedIn page, you guys are going to want to optimize that as best as you can. These are all things Cup SEO does, but if you're savvy enough, if you feel comfortable in LinkedIn, you could probably do a pretty good job yourself. But you guys will see, here's my name. And again, this is my personal page. I've got my title. of what I do, and it's chock full of keyword phrases, all relevant, all authentic, all things that I do on a daily basis. And this goes on down here. In my experience, I've got a ton of keyword phrases in here. And I set this up just like I do a web page, right? I try and give it a hierarchy. We've got over here, search engine optimization. Down here, we've got blogging. Down here, we've got web design. So if I were a potential customer just looking at this, I'll be like, oh, I don't really care about blogging, but hey, he does web design. I like coffee too. Maybe I should talk to this guy. These little micro decisions are often how we get our business. So let's set this up in a way that's optimal. All right. Down here, and this is all when you're on the edit side of LinkedIn, you can populate this stuff. Put some videos in here, put some pictures. And when you do, once again, make sure the names of the pictures are optimized. And LinkedIn even gives you a little spot to put a little title. Go for it. Put your title. Put those keywords in there. And what this all adds up to, optimized image, optimized information here, in here, all over here. That ups you incredibly in LinkedIn's algorithm. It also gives you authority or credibility in Google's algorithm. But if someone's searching in LinkedIn, this is how you get found. This is how you wind up at the top of a search result in LinkedIn. Very powerful. And as we go down the page a little bit more, we'll see just some other affiliations I'm part of. Here's my Daddy Brain stuff. I also do Daddy Brain webinars and workshops to help dads be better dads. And way down here at the bottom, here's my resume stuff. Again, all optimized, each and every one of them. For Land's End, for the Penguin Scribe, a former business of mine, PRSA, all optimized. And this is the last thing I'll show you guys here. And again, don't worry about remembering all this. I'm giving you a lot. This is a workshop in and of itself. But I want you to have just a heads up on what to do. You can actually alter your skills here. You can add them, you can delete them, you can change how they're laid out here. Okay. Here's all the people who have endorsed me. This is important too, because as people look at your LinkedIn page, if they know you, they're more likely to click these off. And every time one of these gets clicked off, I get a little bit more authority with LinkedIn. Helps me get found, which of course in turn helps me get business. So thus far, guys, do we have any questions about optimization of social? I don't see any right now, so we're going to go ahead and move on. And a really good place to start with social is just by the next post you push through. Just optimize that. You don't necessarily have to optimize every nook and cranny today. Remember, start small, bite-sized steps, okay? Next up is Google My Business. And Google My Business is your portal to SEO power. This is what's going to drive better authority, better credibility of all that you do on the SEO side. Okay, this is your powerhouse. And it's the same exact philosophy as we were looking at on Facebook and LinkedIn. We want to populate everything. I actually did a workshop at Dream Bank yesterday about this. And this is a whole hour-long workshop, so we won't be able to get too much into the nitty-gritty. But again, make sure everything is populated. Make sure it's optimized. Upload some pictures here. But specifically what I want to talk with you about in our last few minutes together is all of my published posts. And for those of you who don't use Google My Business a lot, you might be surprised to say, well, that kind of looks a lot like LinkedIn or Facebook. right? Same format. We've got like here for Nancy Debchik on this side. We've got her headline, a little bit of copy, less than 300 characters, and a link, and of course an optimized image. As you push this through, amazing things can happen. This is going to affect where you wind up in Google Maps when someone searches for something that you do. Like Cup SEO ranks first and second for all of our main keywords because of the work that I do here in Google My Business. That's tremendous to come up first or second in those maps results. So I can't highlight enough how important it is to start to get comfortable in Google My Business, because this is essentially your portal to getting found on a local level. So whatever zip code you're in, you can think about there being a certain radius, and that radius will grow depending on the power and the authority of this page. So super duper important. And as we wrap up, I have a little bit of a call to action for you guys. And I will email this to you all too, so you don't have to worry about taking a screenshot or writing anything down. But what I want to show you is a very short checklist of next steps. So the first thing I'd like to see you guys do, oh, sorry about that there. That looks terrible. There we go, yay, is to, when you take about an hour and assess your website's SEO in those 6 areas that we talked about, okay? And I will also send you that screenshot, that slide, so you have it for reference. Sit down and just look at it honestly. Review those 6 areas, review your content, and give yourself an honest grade. And then be kind to yourself, okay? Pat yourself on the back for the fact that you took this workshop, that you're looking to make things better. But give yourself an A through F grade, or I often say A through D, so this way nobody fails. And then please think about how you want to handle that keyword report. And at the very least, sit down and make a list. Talk to your colleagues. Talk to your friends, family, whoever you feel is going to have the best insight as to what you do. And put together a list so you can start to implement your search engine optimization into your website, your blog, and your social media. And with that, we've got 2 minutes left in case anybody has any questions. Looks like we've still got a full house. And if you guys wind up with questions tonight or tomorrow, feel free to shoot me an email. I'll be happy to send you additional information or point you to somewhere on my website, either to a blog or a web page that might be of further help. Just know that I'm here if you need additional information. So we've got another question from Eileen. Which is the way in which you recommend to link all the social media together to your website and Google My Business? Excellent question. And we've got 1 minute, and I can do this. I can answer this like this. What you're going to want to do, we've got additional question, meaning that when you update your business or your Google My Business page gets updated as well on the other media. Okay, so you're going to want to use something like, if you want to do it all in one fell swoop and not go to each venue independently, you're going to want to use something like Hootsuite or Sendable. Hootsuite is free. They give you like, I think 2 or 3 free channels to use, and then you have to pay. Sendable is $10 a month, and I think you get like 5 or 6 channels. Both are economical, and they will save you time. Okay, so Hootsuite, Sendable, what you'll do is you'll go there, say you wrote a new blog post, you'll write a little blurb about it, put a link to your blog, because we want to bring traffic back to your website, right? We put a blurb about it with a link back to the specific page, and then we push it through LinkedIn and all the other social media channels. Okay, so really what we want to do is have that website optimized. We want to have a blog that's attached to the website, and we want to drive traffic to our blog and our web pages, not some article we read that somebody else wrote. Super important. And Eileen, thank you for all the questions, and thank you all for attending today's webinar. If you missed anything or want to watch it again, you can go to Cuppa SEO's YouTube channel and watch it there for free, or you can share it with your friends. And I really do want to thank you all for participating. I hope you had fun. I hope you learned a bit. And I wish you the very best of luck in optimizing your website, your blog, and your social media. Thank you so much, and I'll see you guys soon. Have a great day.